Well, hello there. It's Sandy here, and I want to talk to you today about the unexpected way to improve your health, your life, and your world. Now, I'm currently in Spain. I came here for a couple of weeks to spend some time with my Swiss teacher, and tomorrow I head back to the UK to continue my book tour. My book tour is for my new book, Calm Cure. Hello there. And I'm going to be doing a book tour over the next couple of weeks and some events, and so I wanted to come on and just tell you more about Calm Cure and see how it could help you in your own life. It genuinely is the unexpected way to improve your health, your life, and your world, because few people would consider approaching life improvement and self-improvement this particular way. But saying that, it is so powerful and so effective, and I'm so passionate about it. I really want to invite you to learn more about it. I'm going to tell you about the three-step technique in this video, and hopefully if you enjoy it, you might want to come along and attend one of my talks throughout the UK. You can do the online course if you're not from the UK or whatever, but it's really about diving in and exploring more about what this unexpected way is. So in Calm Cure, I share, like in the first part, there's like 3 chapters. The first chapter is called Conflict, the Core of Problems. The second chapter is called Awareness, the Heart of Healing. And the third chapter takes you into the actual 3-step technique itself. And then part 2 of the book is all about applying it to improve your health, your emotions, your relationships, your career, your finances, your relationship with time, i.e. past and future, and also the wider world. And let's face it, there's lots of stuff happening in the world that's causing a lot of people concern right now. And so it's a very important, timely book when it comes to the wider world affairs as well. So what I want to do for this Facebook Live is, first of all, I'm going to be sharing about what Calm Cure actually is, and I'm going to talk you through the 3-step technique itself. But I would like to invite you, if you're watching this live, to maybe give me a page number or 2 that come to mind. You can have any page from 1 or 3 actually, is the first chapter starts on page 3, all the way through to 180 or so. Pop a number in the comment spots, and I will endeavour to read from that page, so you can have your personal reading from me today. And you might find it's the exact thing you need to hear about, so do play along. It's a fun twist on things. So how does, sorry, should I say, what is the Calm Cure? Well, the Calm Cure is a way to wake up from our conditioning to be in conflict with life, and in doing so, completely transform our relationship with life. What I've observed over the last 15 years of doing this work is that many people believe that it's their external circumstances that are causing their inner stress, their inner turmoil, and if they are open to more holistic ways of healing, there are some sort of external events that are causing their physical conditions as well. What I'm trying to do with this book is show us that actually it's never what's happening in our life, and if you want true empowerment, you need to recognize it's not about what's happening, but your relationship with what's happening that determines how peaceful, how happy, how wealthy, how successful you are and feel. So we start with the premise that we all have been conditioned throughout life to end up in a fruitless fight with life. In other words, as we're growing up, we are taught what a good life looks like. What sort of body we should have, what sort of friends we should have, what sort of house we should have, what sort of job we should have, what sort of world we should live in. We're basically taught all about what a good life and a good world looks like. Through the back door, we're taught what we should allow when it happens, and what we should resist when it happens. And we push away because it's bad, it's wrong, it's worse, it's negative. This conditioning causes us, on a day-to-day basis, to be in a fight with life without realizing, where we end up allowing some of it, if it's aligned with what we've been conditioned to think we want, but resist the rest. Any problem you have, you've been conditioned to have. And I want you to wake up from that conditioning so that you become free, liberated from the constraints of conditioning. So chapter 1 is about how conflict is the core of problems. So what do I mean by that? Well, anytime you have a problem, there's always three parts at play. However, most people are only aware of the first two. Let's say you have a physical condition. You've got a name for that condition or a diagnosis, and you've been given that diagnosis and name because of some presenting symptoms. And that's where most people stop. They start treating they believe this diagnosis, they get given this name that they have to carry around. I've got arthritis, I've got a thyroid issue or whatever, and then they trying to treat the symptoms. But if you keep treating the symptoms, well, what will you forever be treating? The symptoms, not the cause. The same thing goes for life issues as well. Anytime you have a life problem, you'll have a name for it, like money problems, but you'll also have symptoms. Like if it was a money problem, you would have the symptoms of maybe worry, sleepless nights, unable to pay the bills, potentially arguments with your partner over their spending habits. You would have some kind of symptoms going on, and most people focus their efforts and attention on the symptoms. But there's always a third element at play, whether it's a physical condition or a life issue. And that's what I call the conflict experience. The conflict experience is an experience in your life that you're in conflict with. And due to that conflict, your problem is continuing. What I found is conflict causes your problems to continue because, as the well-known phrase goes, what you resist persists. And so when it comes to the conflict experience, how does that work? How do you find this conflict experience, this hidden cause to your health condition or your life problem? Well, you start by asking, how does this condition or problem make me feel? How does the condition or problem make me feel? And you tune in and actually explore, how does it feel to be living with the symptoms of this health condition? Or how does it feel to be living with this money issue, or this relationship issue, or this career problem? Or how does it feel to be living in this world in the way that it is right now? How does it feel within me to be experiencing this problem? You come up with a few descriptive words that describe how the condition feels to be experiencing, or how the problem feels to be experiencing. For example, let's say a person has, the classic example I use in the book is a rash. So let's say you've got a rash. That's the condition name. You know you have that rash because you've got physical symptoms like red, itchy, blotchy skin. But if you actually tune in and go, how does it feel to be experiencing this? You may describe it as irritation, like something's under your skin. Now, you'll notice that description of irritation is different to the name, and it's different to the symptoms. It's a third element that most people aren't aware of. They're just living with it. Like, it becomes like the wallpaper of their day, and they're not aware of how it actually feels. But if you actually then ask the second question in the Camp Care technique, which is simply, where in my life have I been feeling this way? For example, where in my life have I been feeling irritation? Then you'll get an event, some sort of life circumstance or situation that's going on where you've been feeling irritated. Make sense so far? Give me a like or a heart or whatever you want to do in order to let me know this is making sense so far and you're actually listening and tuning in. Now, we got a few comments there. They weren't showing up before. Thank you very much. Hello, guys, and thanks for all the likes as well. That's really kind of you. And we've got a page number I'll come back to in a bit. So, once you've got the description, once you've got a time in your life or an event or circumstance in your life when you felt a similar way, then you can actually start working to find the potential conflict. So what's a conflict? Conflict requires two opposing forces. That's what conflict requires. And in the context of Camp Care, the conflict is made up of resistance and attachment. So first of all, in step one of the technique, we then move on to find out what's the resistance. And you ask yourself, what's happening that I do not want? In that circumstance, that situation in your life where you're feeling irritated, what's happening that you do not want? An example I give in the book is where someone was feeling irritation, and I asked, what's happening that you do not want? And they said, oh, my partner is always ignoring me because when I walk into a room where he's always on his phone, so I'm always being ignored. And so being ignored is a life event or an experience. When it happens, you've been conditioned to resist. Okay? Anytime you're ignored. The next question of Camp Care, what would you much rather be experiencing instead? The answer might be to be acknowledged. And that gives the attachment. And then before you know it, you've got the resistance of being ignored and the attachment to being acknowledged. And there you find your conflict experience. This is really revolutionary. It's so simple, it's so easy, but it's so powerful and profound if you actually apply it to your own life. You can do it now whilst watching this if you've got some sort of issue. How does it feel to be experiencing that issue? Where is that feeling showing up in your life? What's happening that you do not want? Get the resistance. What would you much rather be experiencing instead? That gives you the attachment. Once you've got the resistance and attachment, you have clarified the conflict, which is what step 1 of the technique is all about. Once you've done that, you then move on to step 2, which is called calmly coexisting, which is all about learning how to peacefully coexist with that thing you were previously conditioned to be in conflict with. When you're able to be at peace with that life experience, you're no longer governed, or you're no longer hurt by, or you're no longer scared of, or you're no longer having to control everything in your life so that that thing you've been conditioned to not want, that never shows up. The reality is that life is happening on a spectrum of possibilities. And sometimes you'll get what you think you want, and sometimes you won't. And trust me, guys, you really don't want to be living your life having to manage, control, and manipulate every orifice of your existence in order for life to never show up how you don't want it. That's a very scared and limited way to live. What I want for you is to be able to live free, able to be at peace and experience calm irrespective of what's happening in your life. And that is a truly powerful and empowered way to live. Does that make sense to you guys so far? You want to be able to peacefully coexist with the full spectrum of life possibilities. If anything is happening in your life that you're experiencing as a problem, that you're experiencing anger or sadness or fear or guilt or grief or hurt or anxiety or remorse about, if anything is happening in your life that you have a problem with right now and it's making you feel stressed and upset, anxious or whatever, then it shows that there's a conditioned conflict that is existing within you. And your job is to wake up from that conditioning, to wake up from your limitations, and to I don't know if I disappeared there for a minute, but I'm back now, so let's continue. You want to live free, and I want to help you do that through the Calm Cure technique and other things I offer, but obviously this is my most recent book, so that's what I'm talking about right now. The unexpected way to improve your health, your life, and your world. So that's kind of a very quick summary of the Calm Cure technique. It's so simple, it's so powerful. Step 1 is to clarify the conflict, step 2 is calm coexisting, and step 3 is about calming the conflict. You use that step if you don't find that you can calmly coexist with the conflict in step 2. Makes more sense when you read the book and you find out more. Does anyone here have a particular issue in their life that you're struggling with at the moment and you'd like me to help you find the hidden conflict, the hidden cause of? Let me know, write a little message in the comments box, and I promise to do my best to answer and help you today. For free coaching. Go ahead and ask away. So Linda says, good morning, Sandy. Page 137. So as I promised at the beginning of this call, this Facebook Live, I said, if you give me a page number, I will read an extract from that page from this book, and you can have your own personal reading from me today. And so I'm going to look on page 137. Oh, I nearly made it. I opened it at 138. How cool is that? So I'll look at the page before and see where we are in this. So this is the world chapter. This is the chapter on the world, and it's principle 1 of 3, which helps us to heal our relationship with the external world. And it goes like this. Principle 1. World conflict reflects personal conflict. One truth shared by, this is like, I'm reading out an extract, not the whole page. I'm going to read the second chapter, paragraph. One truth shared by many spiritual teachers is that the outer reflects the inner, and as above, so below. The world is a reflection of the individuals who populate it. As long as there is conflict going on at the individual level, conflict will continue at the external level too. Greed, unworthiness, or lack within the individual will be reflected as debt and poverty in the world. The absence of unconditional love within the individual will be mirrored back by hate in the headlines. If there is division and a sense of separateness within the individual, then countries will need borders and police to patrol them. As long as humanity places God in the sky and ignores the divinity that exists within, there will be wars fought over whose God is most righteous. This long-standing spiritual truth can be linked to many of the problems we see on the planet. If we want to be part of the solution, it is vital that we play our part by calming inner conflict so a more loving and peaceful world can be reflected back. Let me be clear. It is not your fault. None of this has anything to do with guilt, blame, or carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. It's about reclaiming your power to make a difference and, as Mahatma Gandhi once said, be the change you want to see in the world. But where do you start? ... And so that's a little extract from page 137, brought to you by Linda Williams. Thank you very much, Linda. Lovely to see you this morning on here. Sam Heath says, "Hi, Sandy. Page 86 has come to mind." So I'm going to read Sam's page from the book any second. Do any of you else have a page number between 1 and 185 that you might want me to read from today? Pop your comment in the box and I will endeavour to read it for you. Okay, Sam, here we go. Page 86. Where are we in the book for page 86? This is the relationships chapter, Sam. Is that relevant to you? Anything going on in your relationships right now? And this is the fifth way that I talk about in order to love without limits. Okay, so it's the fifth way in order that I've shared 5 ways to love without limits. In this chapter, it's a very powerful chapter. I share before this over 20 habits of highly conflicted relationships, so you can see if you're doing any of these habits. And then I go on to talk about how to love without limits. And this is the 5th recommendation. And it says, be willing to share more of yourself. So that's the heading on that page. Be willing to share more of yourself. And here's the little paragraph for that. Raising defensive walls within relationships is common. We are conditioned to hide our true feelings in an attempt to avoid getting hurt or being seen as weak. There is great strength in vulnerability. It takes courage to let your weaknesses be seen. I am amazed by how quickly conflict evaporates when one party is willing to share honestly about what's really going on for them. For example, when you did that, I felt scared that you might leave me. Or, when you work late, I question if it's because you don't want to be home with me. It's very hard to be in conflict with someone waving the transparent flag of vulnerability. And then I have a quote that says, the more of yourself you share and let be seen, the more other people have to love about you. So hopefully that was useful for you, Sam. The more of yourself you share and let be seen, the more other people have to love about you. And that's a really important thing. What I've observed is, for a long time, even during my career in this field, I was trying to give out this kind of impression of a guy that had it all together, and I didn't mean to do it at the time. It wasn't something I was intentionally doing, but I was kind of hiding myself. I was trying to, be this person I thought people wanted to see. What I've observed is, since I've been much more honest, since I've been much more real, since I've been much more like, look, this is who I am. I'm on a spiritual path, but we've all got our own stuff we're dealing with. We're all going through stuff or whatever. Since I've been honest and I've shared with people, suddenly I've been able to connect with them, because we often connect in these aspects of our vulnerability. So these things that we want to hide, we actually, by sharing them and letting them be seen, people are actually have more to love about us. So I think it's a really important part. I would like anyone else to give I'm trying to see if we've got any more comments coming in. I'd like to see a page number. If you just write a wee comment, and I'll share another, I'll read from another page if anyone is brave enough or wants to play with me today. Just in the comments box, write a page number from 1 to 190 or so, and I will read an extract just for you, and you might find it's the perfect thing you need to see. I don't have any, it says I've got 10 comments, but I don't have comments from everyone. I wonder why they're not showing up for me today. Who knows? Try again if you've tried and it's not shown up yet. Hopefully it will show up in a minute. So, one of the reasons I wanted to come on today, and I'll wait for any more comments, or I'll have to do a lucky dip myself if I don't see any coming in. But one of the reasons I'm wanting to do this quick Facebook Live today is because I'm in Spain right now. I'm flying back to the UK tomorrow. I'm in Letchworth Garden City on Wednesday in England doing a talking camp here. Come along then. And then on Sunday, I'm in Southend-on-Sea near London doing a full day Camp Cure course so I might want to come on to that. And then next week, I'm in Bristol. I think it's on the Monday. And then I'm also in Norwich next week, so I'm on the opposite sides of the country next week. And then I end up in Birmingham. I nearly said it like a local there. I'll do my best. And then I'm in Birmingham what am I doing in Birmingham? I am basically going to do a 2-day Calm Cure course. That's like a proper full-on 2-day course. And what I mean by that is I'm going to share with you the technique, but then we're going to spend a couple of days together applying it to our health, our emotions, our relationships, our finances, our relationship with time, our career, and the wider world. Politics being one of them. We're going to work together with the Calm Cure to get peace with politics, peace with economies, peace with the wider world. Stuff that we find challenging in the wider world, we are going to explore. Now, here's the good news. I've got my phone up here because it's not working on my other phone, but I see that there is more comments, so I can look at them on my phone. I've got a backup plan. So Marion says 126. Okay, Marion, I've got your request. I'm going to read from page 126 from the book. What chapter are we in? We're in the chapter of time. The chapter of time. And so here is the extract from that. Now, we're in a crossover page, talking about the past on half the page and the future on the other half of the page. Which one will I work on? I think I'll work on the past. It starts with a quote that says, "You stop being a victim to your past when you know it only negatively impacts you when you think about it now. You stop being a victim to the past when you know it only negatively impacts you when you think about it now. For any past memories that you feel compelled to think about and bring up negative emotions when you do, then use the Calm Cure, see chapter 3, to clear any conflict towards what's happened. Unresolved memories are simply past previous events that you are still in conflict with. If any memory generates anger, sadness, hurt, fear, guilt, grief, shame, remorse, or any discomfort when thinking about it, then you're holding on to some kind of conflict in relationship to it. You are resisting what happened because you remain attached to something else happening instead. My dad should have stayed. My mum should have been more loving. I shouldn't have failed at that business, for example. When releasing yourself from the prison of the past, the first step is always to recognize that memories are just thoughts that you're giving far too much attention to. Then, with self-awareness and the Calm Cure technique, bring conscious calm to the memories that you've been unconsciously in conflict with. Doing so will cause you to dwell on your past far less and free up your focus for the present moment." I saw a few hearts and likes scrolling along the screen just then, so that part obviously resonated with a few of you. It's a really powerful part. I want you to be really aware that it's never what happened, but your relationship with what happened that you need to heal if you want to improve your relationship with the past. I know some horrible things may have happened in your life, and you've had some difficult things that when you think about might bring up anger or sadness or hurt or shame or guilt or whatever. But if you want to be free from the prison of the past, which I think is a very powerful phrase that came to me when I was writing the book, it's really fundamental that you recognize that you're not a victim to what's happened. You can be free from what's happened. The first step is to recognize the past is only a thought that you're giving far too much attention to right now. I say far too much because what really deserves your attention is the present moment, reality. But if you are feeling compelled to think about the past, and one of the compulsions is because it makes you feel a certain way, then what you want to do is you want to use the Calm Cure technique to clear the conflict that you have in relationship to a past event. If there's a conflict with something that's happened in your life, it's because you're still in resistance, you're still resisting what happened because you're still attached to something else happening instead. If you think about it, it's pretty pointless to being attached to something else happening instead because what's happened is happened. You can't get something different to what's already happened. And so it's really fundamental that you recognize the conflict that's keeping you connected to that past memory, the compulsion to keep thinking about it, and the justification for the negative emotions, so that you can once and for all move on and be free from that thing that has previously been impacting your behaviors, impacting your health, impacting your emotions, and limiting your life enjoyment moving forward. So hopefully that's a useful little bit there. Let me have a look at any questions coming in. Someone says, advice please. I have an undiagnosed illness. Every time I have the symptoms, my fear is triggered of what if. I become consumed with fear, and this fuels the illness. Okay. So I'd like to ask you, how does experiencing this undiagnosed illness and these symptoms make you feel? One of the things is obviously fear, which you've mentioned in your comment. But I'd like you to go a little bit more specific than that. What is it about having these conditions, having these symptoms that's making you feel that way? What is it about it? You might feel that you're out of control, or you don't know what's going to happen, or there'd be another way of describing it. So be a bit more specific with your description. Let's say you feel scared, the condition makes you feel scared because you're out of control and you are powerless. That's the third element, that's the conflict. And then you ask yourself, where is this feeling and experience shown up in my life? In other words, where in my life have I been feeling fear, powerlessness, a lack of control? Then once you've got that memory, ask yourself the third question of the step 1 of Calm Cure. What's happening that I do not want? What's happening that's causing me to feel fear, lack of control, powerlessness? What's happening that I do not want? Get an answer to that. And then ask the next question, what would I much rather be experiencing instead? Which would then give you the attachment. And before you know it, you've found your conflict, the potential hidden cause to these symptoms of this undiagnosed condition. Obviously, continue to use and talk to your doctors and receive guidance. But if you want to feel more empowered, if you want to explore if there is a mind-based cause, then I highly recommend this more integrative approach that takes account of the scientifically proven mind-body connection. And so hopefully that helps you, Sarah, because what you want to do is find that conflict, resolve that conflict, and you will find, using the Calm Cure, that you will no longer experience such fear arising in relationship with these symptoms. You'll also potentially heal the issue that's causing the condition in the first place, and that can be amazingly powerful for you. So hopefully that's been useful for you. If this is useful for you, give me a like or something, so other people know to watch this at some point in the future. Thank you very much, guys. That's really kind of you. Carolyn says, are the conflicts to do with health in the book? My situation is that many foods are making my body sick, but nutrients are what's needed to heal. That's a really good point. Thanks for all the love, guys. That's really kind of you. The conflict are the conflicts to do with health in the book? Yes, they are. First of all, there is the technique itself. This helps you explore the potential conflict that's causing your body to behave this way. Because you will have the condition name, you'll have the symptoms, but there's also going to be this third element I keep going on about. This is the hidden cause. This is the unconscious conflict that's potentially causing your body to behave this way. So it's so important for you to explore that and understand why your body's doing what it's doing. And so we've got the technique itself, which helps you to self-diagnose, take advice from doctors, of course. But also there's a directory at the back of the book, which I can't remember all of the things in that directory, but you may find that the directory, your condition or issue is showing up in the directory of 101 physical conditions. I list the most common conflicts of 101 conditions at the back of the book as well, which is really powerful. And finally, when you're reading the chapter on health, I give a lot of understanding and information about how to interpret the symbolic nature of physical conditions. So I give a lot of advice into how to actually understand what your body's trying to tell you through the conditions it's creating. So it's a very powerful chapter, that. And it's very empowering. In fact, the chapter is called Health, From Helpless to Healed. And often people with a condition do feel rather helpless. And this is about helping them move into a state of more empowered healing. Let me have a scan through to see if anyone else... Anna Grace. I don't have my copy yet, but I'm glad that you said yet. Get yourself a copy. It's available in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook. It is in the mail. Oh, great. So you're getting the paperback. Fantastic. Can I guess a number? Yes, you can, Anne. And the number you guess is number 11, so page 11. So let me have a look at page 11. Ah, yes, this is one of my favorite extracts extracts from the book. I've read this a couple of times in previous Facebook Lives, but hopefully this is perfect for you today, Anne. And it's a section called, well, there's a quote on this page that says, when you resist what you don't want, you keep getting it. When you calm inner conflicts, new things can enter your life. It's a very important part, because essentially what I'm saying there is that often people try lots of things to try and change their life circumstances, and then the same patterns keep showing up over and over and over again. One of the reasons, the fact that we keep creating the same stuff over and over again, is because we're in conflict with the current thing. And that conflict causes it to continue. What we're in conflict with, we remain connected to. And so what we're looking to do is calm that conflict and allow space in our life for new things to arrive. But the bit I'm going to read for you, Anna, is the bit called Align with Realities of Life. It's one of my favourite bits from the book. The reality of life is that sometimes what you want will happen and sometimes it won't. You'll be loved by some people, Anna, and judged by others. On time some days, and end up stopped by every red light on other occasions. Calm Cure is therefore not a defeatist or negative approach, but rather one that aligns us with the realities of life. Look outside and you'll see that nature isn't in conflict with the seasons. The trees aren't attached to green leaves or resistant to bare branches. The peace with approach, which I share in this Calm Cure book, the peace with approach is about aligning with natural law and clearing the conditioning that would cause you to suffer in the face of inevitability. The peace with approach is about aligning with natural law and clearing the conditioning that would cause you to suffer in the face of inevitability. Inevitability. See, what's going to happen is going to happen. And what you want to do is clear the conflict that causes you to suffer in the face of that inevitable circumstances that life is going to want to bring you. Welcome all of life with a wide open mind and heart for freedom and fulfillment. For freedom and fulfillment. Great, so I hope you're enjoying this, and those people have joined today. And I didn't see your comment there, Marion, but I did read from the past bit, so that's great. I got the message from Sarah already. Anyone else with a page number before we bring this Facebook Live to a close? Let me know if you'd like me to read an extract personally for you from the new Calm Cure book. If you haven't got a copy, please do get a copy. I don't have a huge marketing machine behind me, and it's really great if you resonate with this, you grab a copy. Also, if you have a copy, I'd really appreciate it if you'd write a little review on Amazon. Again, like I say, I don't have this big marketing machine behind me, and so every little review helps massively to get the word out. And if you think this is important for people to know this, then I appreciate your support in helping get it out there. So do you have any more page numbers before we bring this to a close? And I'll read from that page from the book. Fee says, just tuned in, only got a couple of minutes, but what I've heard has been perfect for me today. Well, that's awesome. You're very welcome, Fee. So there you go. I'm going to be heading back to the UK tomorrow, and I'll be in Letchworth, Garden City on Wednesday. Come and hear meet me and learn about the Calm Cure. Get a signed copy. Then on Saturday, I'm in Southend-on-Sea doing a one-day course on Calm Cure. It's going to be really great. And then I'm going to be in Bristol on Monday, and then I'm going to be in Norwich later that week. Then I'm going to be in Birmingham doing a 2-day Calm Cure weekend course. Come along to that. I used to run these in London, but I'm now going to be running, for this one I'm running in Birmingham because people asked me to run one more in the central of the country where it's cheaper to attend and stuff. So I'm going to be going to Birmingham to do a 2-day course. Do come along to that. And at the end of the month, I'm going to be running a weekend retreat in Champneys Tring in just outside London. It's a 2-day retreat, 2.5-day retreat, a beautiful Champneys health resort in Tring. It's a mind, body, calm weekend retreat. So there's loads of opportunities in the next few weeks before summer holidays kick in, and it'll be harder to access this live. So do come along to one of these courses. I'm going to see if there's any more page numbers, guys. This is your chance. Oh, Shaf says 132. 132. Let's see what 132 has to say. Ah, this is actually perfect. So I'll end on this one. Thank you, Shaf, for giving me a great one to end on. So this is from the chapter on time. I'm talking about, in the previous pages, using Cam here on common time issues. From conflicting calendar, past letdowns, problem parents, disruptive dwelling, scary movies. So dwelling is more about the past, scary movies about the future. And then I have a section or a part called The Illusion of Later, which might be perfect if you're considering maybe coming to one of these live talks events or getting the book. Let's talk about the illusion of later to end this Facebook Live. I will do it tomorrow, soon, one day. Procrastination is a problem for a multitude of well-intentioned people. Whenever you are procrastinating, you're buying into the belief that later exists. I mean, we could spend a whole Facebook Live talking about that. Whenever you are procrastinating, you're buying into the belief that later exists. It doesn't. Now is the only moment you can do anything. If you're constantly planning to do things later and never actually do things, never actually get around to doing any of them, then you're essentially planning to do things at a time that will never happen in reality. Did you hear that? If you're consistently planning to do things later and never actually get around to doing any of them, then you are essentially planning to do things at a time that will never happen in reality. Remember, now is the only time you can do anything. How does the thought of taking action now make you feel? Clear the conflict to massively increase your present moment performance and stop waiting for a time that will never come. So there you go, guys. I've gone on a bit longer than I planned to, but hopefully it's been worthwhile for you. Please come along to one of my live events for the next couple of weeks in the UK. I'm going to be in, where am I going to be? I'm going to be in Letchworth Garden City. I'm going to be in Norwich, I'm going to be in Bristol, I'm going to be in Birmingham, I'm going to be in Southend-on-Sea, I'm going to be in Tring. And there's a range of 1 hour intro talk, a couple hour intro talks, 1 day, 2 day workshops, and a weekend retreat. So there's many ways that you can dive in and learn this. If this is resonating with you, and if you want to live more free, and you want to live without having to dwell in the past or worry about the future, if you want to heal a physical condition, if you want to improve something in your relationships, in your finances, in your career, if you've been trying to do things to improve your life, but keep finding you're creating the same old issues over and over again, then maybe it's time to explore this unexpected way to improve your health, your life, and your world. For more information, go to sandynewbigging.com, click on the events option, and you'll see the listings of my upcoming events in there. And I cannot wait to see you very soon to experience Calm Here, the unexpected way to improve your health, your life, and your world. Until then, I wish you infinite peace, limitless love, and bye for now. Bye.